and we are live at 5 in the beautiful Dick Keefe studio in our Norwood High School. Thank you all who are watching online, on the internet, in person, for our annual Board of Selectmen debate. If you need to reach me, I'm Kevin Broderick 777@gmail.com, cell 781-686-3334. Let's get right into the topics. So, first thing is going to be opening statement. So, Cheryl, you go first. Why are you running for Board of Selectmen?
Well, first, I'd like to thank you for holding this debate. I think it's a great idea, and I'd like to thank NCM for putting it on once again. I'm running for Selectmen because I feel with a fresh set of eyes, I can make some really good changes to the town, and the experiences that I've had being on the numerous boards over the years and then being a town meeting member for 16 years. I think it helps out. I've lived in the town close to 30 years. Prior to that, I was in the United States Navy. I'm a 9-year veteran. 3 of those years I was stationed in South Korea. I was a radio man, which is all communications, and then I had a top secret clearance the entire time, and then I was a recruiter for 3 years. So I think I'll be good. I'm a hard worker. I'm honest, straightforward. So.
Mike.
Kevin, thank you. Young man, taking over the town, doing a great job with this broadcast. NCM, thank you and congratulations once again. Michael said, I'm up for re-election. I think the town in the last 3 years has seen the work that I've done, the actions I've taken, and I think that Norwood needs to come back to Norwood. I think we've got a lot of great projects on the ticket. Factory Mutual, Norwood Hospital is the biggest project we'll ever have in Norwood. I see I have a beautiful family, my wife, my 4 kids, my big family, extended, and my 101-year-old mother is a lot of work, but we keep getting it done. But I think the things we've done for Norwood to save the taxpayers' money, the frivolous spending, we've got to cut it out. Every town is hurting, we're no different, and the budget's going to be a big problem in the next 3 or 4 years, and we've just got to buckle down and save money and do what we can to save money. But I think we have the right attitude and the right position on the job, and I'm just hoping I have your vote on April 6th, on next Monday. Just go out and vote.
David, to you.
Thank you, and thank you, Kevin, for having this tonight as well, and thank you to my opponents here. This is a great event. I'm Dave Bliss. I'm running for the Board of Selectmen. I've been in town for 11 years now. I call Norwood my home. A lot of issues coming up in the town I want to become involved with and try to solve. What I will bring to the board is fresh ideas, collaboration, and most of all, common sense. We need to work together. This is a beautiful town, and I want to be a part of the results and to get this town where it needs to be. Thank you.
Cool. All right, so I'm going to start with perhaps and probably the most important question. We all agree, and tell me if you don't, that we need Norwood Hospital back. The question I have for you is, within the authority of the Board of Selectmen, what is it that you can do to help bring the hospital back? Mike, to you.
I got to say, I'm pretty proud. I have a good friend of mine, 2 of them, Doug Jassett and Jimmy Garrity. We took the initiative a year ago to get to the State House and get the ball rolling. I told the Board of Selectmen that this is the biggest project that we'll ever have in Norwood. We can't leave it aside. We have to step forward and be the leaders. We've got elected leaders in this town. We have to lead this project. And it is the biggest project, and I think with the John Rogers and Mike Rush and Congressman Lynch, we'll hopefully get this project up and running and get a hospital provider in there. There's a lot of complicated issues with it. I can't get into details with it, but there are a lot of complicated issues, but there's some good things coming our way. But I think we have to get this under control. We have to get more out front. I've asked Tony and the board to get it on the agenda for the task force to show up next Tuesday, our meeting. And we have to let the people know that we're working hard, we've got some things going on, and show them that we care. We care about getting that thing open. The seniors need it, the veterans need it, the homeowners need it, the communities around us need it. It's just a big drag on our fire department, our ambulance service, and the men and women that run those ambulances, and the wear and tear. It's costing us millions. And we need to just get our handle on this, get a provider in there, and get our governor to say, yes, I'll help support you with a permit, and get that permit issued and try to get somebody on the hook to take it over. It'd be a big hospital and a great one for Norwood.
David, to you.
I agree with Michael. I think the Norwood Hospital needs to be open as soon as possible. With the hospital being closed, it's causing a lot of disruption amongst the community, surrounding communities, services in the town. But Norwood Hospital is extremely important, and it needs to be open immediately. And if I'm on the board, I'll help out with the others, and we'll certainly get this thing opened up.
Okay, Cheryl?
I think it's very important to keep open dialogue with the state officials, because I believe they play a really huge part in getting the hospital reopened. It's not something that's gonna happen overnight. There's a whole process to open that hospital, and everybody thinks there's a quick fix. Reality is, there is no quick fix to opening it. There are so many steps that have to take place first, and then once you find a buyer and an operator and everything, then you have to outfit that hospital. That in itself, I work commercial construction, that by itself is huge, and it will take time to outfit it and then get it certified and everything else. And with the select board and the town managers and others that they have a team, I am more than happy to work with them. Like I said, communications is number one. And there's an old saying, if you throw enough to the wall, something's bound to stick. And I think we gotta keep throwing ideas to the state and say, hey, these are the reasons why we need the hospital open. This is the history of the hospital in the past. And as we're growing our population, it's very important to get on the bandwagon, get it open, so we're better able to serve not only our community, but all the other surrounding communities.
So Cheryl, follow-up for you. Do you believe that the primary role of the Board of Selectmen is to be vocal about the issue? There's not really too much practically they can do structurally to fix the issue. Would you say that's an accurate representation of the problem?
I think it is, but I would like to see the town manager and the selectmen to be more in the public eye with the community, because a lot of people in the community think they're not doing anything. And the thing is we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. So if they would step forward and put a face to everything, I think it would put a lot of the community more at ease that, yes, there is something going on.
Would, Mike, would you agree with that?
I would, and as Cheryl knows, she's in the commercial real estate, and that's a big building, 450,000 square feet with a parking garage and a lot of land around it. But I want to just jump in with the task force. They worked really hard. They're brilliant people on the task force. I don't want to mention names. They all know who they are. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart from the town of Norwood. These people are spending a lot of time on this issue, and it's a lot of legal, a lot of hospital jargon, and they do a great job. I'm going to have them in front of the board, I'm hoping, in 2 weeks, and you can see the faces behind the scenes. But there's a lot of work to that, and that's a big commercial building, and there's a lot of complicated issues with it. Your determination, the need from a permit from the governor, write the letters to the governor, make a phone call to the governor, blow up the State House. It would be great if we had a rally in Norwood in front of the Norwood Hospital. If we could put that together and get some people there and make a big stink out of it like we did at Norwood Day, the more we do, as Cheryl says, you throw it against the wall, it's gonna stick. We need to get the hospital out there forefront now, and we got Moderna right up the street, one of the companies that saved the world, right in Norwood, Massachusetts. So I think Cheryl's got the right idea, and David, but I think we have to get the people up in front of us, let people know that we're working hard. The seniors are doing their job at Norwood Senior Center with Kerry and the team. We just got to get people rowing in the right direction now and get our state rep, state senator, and Congressman Lynch, they're all behind us 150%, to just get to that position and say, we want a hospital and just help us out. And hopefully the state will do that.
So David, to you, what do you think?
I agree. I think in what Cheryl said about letting people know what's going on, that's part of one of my things when I'm running is transparency. there's a lot of things going on in town that people have no idea what's going on. I talk to people and they have no idea. So when I mentioned about that the board should be more active and more transparent, whether it's, the newsletter or what have you, or Tony's letter, but more information has to be put out there for the people to know what's going on. We're all in this together. And this stuff behind the scenes and behind this door, behind that door, it should be all out in the open. People want to know what's going on. They're very passionate about the hospital. We all are. We want that hospital open. People want to know what's going on. That's what we need to do. The other thing I would do with the legislatures, and I don't know if this has been done yet or not, have we talked to the governor? Have we had a one-on-one with the governor yet? If not, why don't we?
Does
We'll meet
anybody
her
wanna
anywhere.
comment?
In Boston, we'll meet her in Arlington where she lives. I don't care. Let's get the governor on the right in here, meet with her face to face, tell her what's going on, because what I'm hearing, she's not too keen about. Well, she doesn't think that no one needs a hospital. That's absurd.
Mike?
Let me fill in on that, David. We've contacted the governor, John Rogers, Mike Rush, and Congressman Lynch, and she won't return their phone calls at the beginning of this. Now she seems to be thinking of it because there's 250,000 votes in the community around us, and they're not happy with her. So hopefully we'll get the ball rolling with that, David, and get somebody to communicate with her. But if you could call her, let us know. We'll help you out.
If I had her number, I certainly would.
We'll get it for you.
It's an election year too, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
It's an election year for her.
That's right.
Cheryl, anything before we move on? Anything else? No? Okay. All right, so I want to move over to the financial side of things. First thing that comes to mind is capital projects. For those who don't know, capital projects are big expenditures. The town normally plans a few years out. I guess the question to the board, or candidates for the board, would be, what do you see as priorities in the next few years, and what do you see as stuff that we should leave for future years? David, to you.
Well, we have to take a look at our financial picture. Next couple of years doesn't look too good. We have a lot of expenses coming up. So what I would do right off the bat, what I would recommend to my fellow board members if I'm elected, is take a look at that capital budget that we have for next year. I would even be in support that maybe we should hold back on spending. Take what's on that list, what's essential, what's something that we need right away, that may be fine, but I think we need to hold back. I think capital expenditure is important, but if the money's not there, we have to start cutting back somewhere. And so the capital budget I would seriously take a look at and hold back as much of that money as we possibly can, because we're going to have to find money everywhere. It's
David, follow up to that, is there anything specific that you see, upcoming expenditures that you don't think the town should be funding?
As far as capital,
Yeah.
I don't know what the list is for next year, what the capital list is, but certainly, if it's not something that we really need right away, it's something that we can put off for a year or two, fine, but we have to start somewhere. That's probably the first place I would start.
All right. Cheryl?
I agree. There's things on the list that probably could be put out a year or two. And I know the capital outlay has a cycle for all our vehicles, whether they're the DPW or up at the cemetery, the schools, the senior center, etc. But can we skip a cycle and then pick it back up? It does throw things off on the year and that of the vehicles, and I have an understanding that, like, if we order a fire truck or an ambulance, it's not something we get right away. It takes us a few years to get it because they have to outfit it, and there's only certain companies that actually do that. But on, like, a dump truck or a regular, like, van or something, we can wait on some of that.
Okay. Mike?
I can name 100 projects right now, the last 3 years that I've learned, but the big one is the water towers at Norwood High School. I think that was a waste of money by the taxpayers. I think you have a couple of the projects with trucks and vehicles. We're buying all new equipment. Every town is in financial straits right now. City of Boston just put a freeze on hiring, spending, whatever the cities and towns like Lexington High School, they just put a big high school up there, and they're just stopping the teachers out, laying them off. we're in a real 4 or 5 years, I don't want to say it drastically, but 4 or 5 years from now, we're in a drastic spot unless we get some really big companies coming to Norwood, and a lot of people do homeowner repairs. We're in a real financial straits with 5, 10, 9, 13 million, whatever number pans out at the end of the year from free cash that we have left, if we have any left. We've just got to cut back on this. We've got to say no to a few projects. We have to tell people, hey, listen, we wish we can get 5 new trucks, but somewhere we have to just make them work. The fire truck we're getting, the ladder, as Cheryl said, the old truck, the one that we have now, the fire chief says it's worth $2,000. Well, we got to find a garage, put that $2,000 truck in there. If we need a backup, we have one, because it's costing us $3 million for another one, and that'll
David.
probably break down.
So you nod your head.
I would
Yes.
say as far as the public safety goes, that's essential. Police cruisers we need, but I know the police chief has a schedule about cruiser replacement. I would stick with that. On the fire side, like we said, we just purchased a new ladder truck, and the engines are pretty new, so I think the fire should be okay for a couple of years. But if it's something essential, like for public safety, something like that, then we should purchase a vehicle. But other than that, we really take a serious look at the others.
Okay. Now, one of the biggest, if not the biggest project in the capital plan is renovation of Town Hall. There isn't a precise estimate on how much it would cost, but likely in the tens of millions of dollars. The question to you guys is, would you support this? Would you need more information? Would you be prone to supporting this? Cheryl?
You know what? Town Hall's been there forever and ever and ever. They've been doing work on the inside of it over the years. The third floor's been redone. There's areas in the ground level that has been done. Almost every area has been touched except for one area. And it's down where planning, the CPC admin is, and zoning is. That is the only area that has not been touched in that town hall. And to me, they should go in, rip up the pattern of the carpet that's in there because it's all hodgepodge, recarpet the place, and make it more professional looking. So when there are developers, et cetera, coming in to meet with the staff, it looks more professional. Because building department and plumbing and all of them have been redone. I don't think we have $10 million laying around. And I know it was mentioned when the FinCon candidates were here to use, tap into CPC. There's only certain things you can use CPC money for. It's a historic building, yes. So the windows, the roof, things like that, yes, you can use it. But then when you start getting in the nitty-gritty, you're going to have problems. CPC has a little over $3 million. That, in the grand scheme of things, $3 million is not that much money in the grand scheme.
Mike?
I gotta say, being in the town hall frequently, we've done over Memorial Hall, the benches, the walls, the roof we did over, the windows we did over when John Carroll 8 or 10, 15 years ago. They seem to be leaking again. Every time we get somebody to do the windows, they leak. We don't hold the contractors accountable. The John Carroll's room had a fire in it with Bernie's. That's been redone. You know, Tony's office is adequate enough to me, and you have a couple other spots that need attention. You know, the bathrooms, it's a 100-year-old building. You know, people go to Italy and visit these old buildings, 600 years old. You know, that's the charm of Norwood. You know, we don't have to spend $20 million. That's the number going around, floating, $20 million. And we're not spending $20 million. If I'm on the board, we're not spending $20 million.
I hate to disappoint you. I think it might be more.
Maybe more, but I'm just saying that was the start of it. Because as Cheryl knows, and I know what David, I just found what he does for work at Mercedes dealership, when you have a project today and you run it out 6 months from now, you're behind 12%, 18% on the budget.
So here's my follow-up to
Go
that.
ahead.
From my understanding, there's structural issues,
Yeah.
and there's also, it's not really aesthetic. It's like the function of town hall, and perhaps, you know, the cost to fix it would increase if we were to hold off on it. So with that new information, does your opinions change? Not at all?
I think we have, as you know, the heating has got issues. We've got the elevators got issues, but we just did the elevator 2 years ago. I told Tony, I says, you gotta get a letter from the contractors and say, hey, you screwed up, we're gonna sue you. Just like any business, you gotta run like a business. We're gonna start running like a business.
David?
I wasn't aware that we had a plan to place a town hall. Do we have a plan, Mike? You're on the board.
Oh, it's not I don't know much about a plan, but I know they're thinking of spending 20 million.
It's within the capital outlay plan.
Yeah, the capital outlay, it goes to them first and then to us.
It's not in this fiscal year.
Yeah, next
It's a
year.
few years out.
Yeah.
But if you were to be elected, it would probably be a topic of discussion during your tenure.
Well, I hope we do discuss it. It's $20 million, of course. Where are we going to get the money? Where's the money?
Well,
I don't know where the money's going to come from. You know, we want to take a look at town hall and do whatever they want to do with town hall, but what do you want to do with it? What's it going to entail? You know, we just don't throw a number out there and say we're going to spend $20 million on the town hall. What are we going to do? I want to see specifics. I want to see what this money is going towards. I want to see how large of a project this is going to be.
okay, so I smiled when you were answering that because it leads perfectly into my next question, which is what the essence of our financial troubles come from. I'm trying to figure that out. I want to see what you guys have to say about that. I asked the FinCom a very similar question, but it is, do you believe that the town has a revenue problem? Are we not collecting enough? Are we spending too much, or are we doing both? Let's start with you, Mike.
I think we're spending too much. I think we have to look at possibly, if I get elected on April 6th, a possible freeze of some sort, a hiring freeze. The schools have got to come into this picture. I love my schools. I mean, we did the extreme makeover at the Ball School, but it's a combination of the government, the schools, the fire, the police safety. You know, our hands are tied. Every community's tied. We're not alone with this revenue problem. People aren't building. There's no more land to build other than developers coming in and building these 150 unit, 200 unit buildings, and we're getting very little revenue from them. You know, these big buildings. We have to make sure that we tax them right, we get the permits right, and so I think it's a combination of both. But I think the revenue side is one, but the spending, you know, let me put it this way. I brought it up at the debate last week about the cannon in front of the town hall. $137,000 to remodel it, paint it, repoint it. Blue Hills, they could do it in a week or two. Try them. What do we got to lose? All we have to do is pay material, and they come over and do all the work for us. So that's one of the things we think we have to do.
So about the specific cannon
Yep.
issue, I know it was mentioned at League of Women's Voters. I'm
Yeah.
curious to see what Cheryl and David think about that. Would it be a good idea to invite Blue Hills to do it instead of using town funds? Cheryl?
Well, as a member of the Historic Commission and CPC, the town hall is on the National Register. With the town hall on it, that means anything on that piece of land is also on it. So that's the lockup, that's the cannon. That cannon is under historical value. So the cannon's well over 100 years old. It was gifted to the town for the veterans of World War II. It really needs somebody in that field and it's not just sanding and painting.
David, do you agree?
Oops.
Oh, you know what? Go ahead, Cheryl. Finish.
I was going to say, the wheels need to be redone. The wheels were never done. The foundation, the slab that it's on, that needs to be redone. CPC was enacted and passed town meeting in this town for things like that will not come out of the operational budget, but will come out of the CPC budget.
Okay. So, David, would you agree with that? Should we be looking in that direction?
Absolutely, absolutely. Anything we can save a dollar, sure.
Okay.
I think the Blue Hills would be a good idea. Can I answer the other question now?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. What was the question I asked previously?
Do we have a revenue problem?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
By all
I
means.
didn't
Go
answer
ahead.
that.
Yeah, no, yeah.
We both answer it.
I would say all the above. Revenue problem, spending problem, sure, it's there. One of my things that I mentioned when I was running, during the start of my campaign, one of the things I'd like to do if elected is to get the Board of Selectmen, Finance Commission, and the school committee members all together in a joint meeting and sit down at a table and come up with a blueprint and ideas about how we're going to move forward. This, committee over here, we got a committee here, we all have to come together. We have a big fiscal problem coming up in the next couple of years. we have to get the people together. The school side have to come together, the Board of Selectmen for general government, meet with the Finance Commission, let's sit down, be adults, and come up with a plan.
So Cheryl, we're going to ask the same question to you, but I do want to follow up on that. So you said all three. I guess we can kind of go in any lens, but I guess I'm looking at, you mentioned the shared between FinCom, Board of Selectmen, and School Department. Is there anything that stands out to you as something that we could reform before the election?
Maybe a better formula how we can spend the free cash or any extra money that we have left over. Part of that meeting was, and the big part of that meeting is going to be, we have to set the priorities. This is what it looks like. We've got to do a budget analysis for the next 3 or 4 years, see what the projections look like. This is what we have to work with. We need a framework put in place, and everyone has to know what the ground rules are, and we have to follow them. We have to move forward, but we have to do it together.
Okay. Cheryl, so let's go to the original question. Does the town have a revenue problem, spending problem, or both?
Both.
Okay, why?
We spend money like it's king's ransom. We just spend. We don't have to. I stood up at one town meeting and I go, what happens if this entire body goes, no? What are you guys gonna do then? There was no response on it. We already have a budget balancing committee that covers with the selectmen and the school and the operating budget and everything in together. Then it goes with FinCom. Again, all of them are part of it. I think what we need to do is, we need to cut back on the spending, yes, but we need to generate more revenue to keep up with spending. We have these huge apartment complexes. We have Avalon, we have Campanelli up at Upland Woods and all that. If we're going to keep inviting all these developers in our town to build these big apartments, why are we not looking at another tax bracket for them? We have the commercial, we have the residential, but then you have these monstrosity apartments that their rent is controlled by an algorithm. If they end up having too many 2 bedrooms available, they go at one price. If they get low on the 2 bedrooms, then they raise the rent. Why not tax them at a higher bracket? We could do that. It'll probably keep some of them at bay from looking at Norwood while they're licking their lips and everything, going, oh yeah, this is an easy slam dunk. We can end up generating a lot of money. And I don't mean tax the mom and pop double or triple deckers. Don't do it like if they're under 10 units, but anything beyond it. Because if you stop and think about it, and if somebody goes, yeah, but it's residential. No, it's a business. It's a commercial business, no matter how you look at it. Because if that tail is wagging like a dog, it's a dog.
Okay, now let's move to Mike.
I just want to add to that, one thing I'm on, Dave, I'm on the Balance and Budget Committee, and we do meet with the FinCom, School Committee, and the Selectmen, two members, Bob Donnelly and myself, are on it. And we kind of talk about it in different ways with each member, and we try to come up with a balanced budget for this year and next year. We look forward. We got to start meeting more, which we're pushing. So we do that. The other thing with Cheryl is, one of the smart people on my campaign team always says to me, when the big apartment complexes come in, like other towns do, like Gillette just did, or the town of Foxborough Selectmen with the 3 ambulances, the 4 pickup trucks with the World Cup, why don't we hit them up for another ambulance? Why don't we hit them up for a pickup truck or a police car? Might not hurt them, donated by, Avalon Bay. They can obviously afford it with their 368 or 268 apartments. So I agree with Cheryl. We have to start looking at revenue enhancement and saying, hey, why aren't we running this like a business? Foxborough Selectmen do it. Why aren't we doing it?
Anything to add, David?
I see their point. The only thing I would say is, I don't know legally if that's legal or not. I think that's something that we may have to check with town council on, or splitting up the different tax,
Okay.
taxing one person a different way. And so I think I would want to check the legality of that first.
Yeah, so I will say, I do have some type of understanding. I'm not running for the Board of Selectmen, but normally when you have more than 4 units, you are assessed at a higher value. So we could talk about, I don't know if it's legal to, I'll digress. Okay.
Can I follow up on something?
I think we should move on. Let's
Okay.
move on. Okay. So it does segue into it though. So override. I want to see what your initial reactions are to the discussions of the upcoming override or overrides in the future. I guess to add on to that would also be, would you guys, first of all, are you in favor of an override? Second, if you are, would you support 1 or 2 overrides, because that has been in discussion? Cheryl, let's go with you.
I definitely wouldn't support 2 of them. I think that's too much for the town to take on. If we're going to do an override at all, I think we need to look at the fire and the police, and it's because we're becoming more dense with a lot of people just keep moving in, moving in, moving in. And then people start complaining, well, we have trouble over here in this complex, we have trouble over there, the crime rate's going up, the drugs, this, that. You need enough police force to cover that. Fire department, they don't even have enough to man their trucks and that. They have a ladder truck, so if they go to a fire, one has to stay to man the truck, and then the other one goes to help fight the fire. So even though we get mutual aid, so you could have mutual aid over, but what happens if there is a large fire at Moderna? That's going to be calling in a lot of mutual aid and our own firemen, and then there might be another fire over at FM Global on the other side of the town. We don't have enough.
So Cheryl, just to clarify, correct me if I'm wrong, you would be in favor of the public safety override, but not an additional override?
No, not an additional one. I think safety is the most important thing in this town, and you never ever want loss of life. I think, to be fair, like our process is, it goes to town meeting votes for it to go on the ballot, and I think the people in this town are the ones that have the right to vote yes or no, because they are the ones that are paying the taxes.
Mike?
One of the hard decisions you make as a selectman or selectwoman is the hard decisions whether to support the police and fire. And I think anybody that lives in this town, as Cheryl says, if you turn on the news, Norwood is not immune from it. We've got a lot of crime coming our way. We've got the city coming our way. I want to support my police department and fire department, and it has to be in a sensible way. You know, I know the fire chief cut down, the police chief cut down from 9 to 4 or 5, and that was a great thing for the town. We'll do it in moderation. We're working with the fire department, I think, at this point, but I think we as a town have to support our people, our citizens, our seniors. I think what's a life worth? You can't put a value on it.
So also, just to clarify, it would kind of be similar in a sense that we need the public safety override, but not any additional overrides.
Well, I think at this point, take one at a time.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
walks little baby steps first.
Okay. David?
I would be in favor of an override for public safety. Public safety is essential. It's my #1 priority. I'm not a big fan of overrides. I look at this override as something that's essential, something that is needed. Public safety is very important to any community besides the school system. Public safety is important. If you look back in 1977, Norwood Fire Department had the same amount of staffing we have today with 1 ambulance. They're doing over 2,000 calls a year. Today, in 2026, same staffing, 2 ambulances, 7,600 runs, projection to go up to 9,000. The calls are out of control. They're skyrocketing. So they need help. We call them for help. When we need help, they need help now. So I think we have to come to them and help them now, to help them do their job. Public safety to me is my #1 priority.
I believe you commented on earlier, but any additional overrides, you would not support it?
Not right now, no.
Okay. Mike?
Can I, not a rebuttal, let me just throw a point of information out there. And Cheryl, for every big complex we get in Norwood, we get 500 people, you need an extra fire and policeman, kind of by law, statute. And I think the fact that we have 64% apartments, percentage of apartments in Norwood, and we're gonna get up to 70, 75 in the near future, they're gonna come with us. Healy doesn't help us. There's no state funding for us in other towns. That's what's killing all the towns around us. We're no different. The police, the fire, they have to go to everyone to call, every issue with mental health. It's horrendous right now. And we're like a little city. There's no fact that we've gone from little Norwood to little city, but the calls are tremendous. The overload on the ambulance going from BI to Brockton to Sturdy, wherever they're going, is crazy. Or the city of Boston, we're without an ambulance for 2, 3, 4 hours without blinking.
Cheryl, do you have anything?
Not to follow up on.
Okay, so it seems like people are on the same page on that. It kind of leads into another question I have, which is a reason why we have a lot of free cash in the past few years is because we had a lot of new commercial growth. The question I have for the candidates is, what should be the board's approach in first keeping the commercial base that we have, and also attracting new businesses, and if we should? I'll start with you, Cheryl. Sorry, no, I started with you last time, Mike. Sorry, thank you.
I gotta tell you, my first couple of months on the board, Fact Mutual came in front of the board and wanted a tax break. 2.3 million for the interior, the computers, the desk, everything they had interior, and I told them, here's the door, don't let it hit you on the way out, because they were threatening they were gonna move the foundation down to Sharon or some other town. Have fun, move it down, but we're not giving you the tax break. So we took that off the table. We kinda saved the town 2.3 million just on that fact. But they came in with an unbelievable project, a beautiful college in Norwood, first one that we had, $660 million on the rolls. We gave them a bunch of tax breaks. We cut it down 5 years. They wanted 30, we gave them 25. And it's worked out hopefully great for the town of Norwood with the businesses around it. Moderna's right here. They saved the world. They're expanding at a high level in that area up there. Norwood Hospital is the next one we got to get on board. But everybody wants to come to Norwood. We're the number 3 town for rentals, for the value people want for rentals. We're number 3 in the state. And it's just a great community. And we have to just keep it that way. The charm of Norwood, crown jewel of the Commonwealth.
David.
I agree. We have to expand our commercial tax base. I think we're maxing out on the residential side, so it has to now come from the commercial. And nothing better than have to come to Norwood is bring more business to Norwood. Whether it's big or small, come to Norwood, you know. It's a big company. The board, I'm sure, will work with them with the tax incentive programs and whatnot. Bring business to Norwood. Put Norwood on the map where it should be, and bring business to Norwood. We're going to need the revenue. Like I said, we're pretty much maxed out on the residential side, so we have to concentrate on commercial, and that'd be a big priority of mine.
Okay. Before I get to Cheryl, follow up again. Is there anything that the board can do to specifically get businesses into Norwood? Any specific policies or just outreach? What could the board do?
I know we have an economic development team. I would 100% support them, whatever they need to get them to press forward, and just to get out there and attract business with the Chamber of Commerce or whatever. See what we have available for land for them, for the commercial people, and knowing that we want business, we'll be a business-friendly community, and whatever we can help with tax incentives would definitely help.
Cheryl. So the original question was, first of all, if we should be trying to attract new commercial properties and businesses, and if so, how do we do that?
Well, we're running out of land. Right now, the only commercial piece of land that I'm aware of is up at Pendergrass Circle. So that's the biggest piece. Almost every other inch of Norwood's already been developed. It's a slippery slope because if you start hitting your commercial base too hard, now keep in mind, I work in the commercial industry. I manage commercial property. If you go after them and start raising the taxes at a fast rate on them, you are going to drive them out of Norwood. You want to be able to keep them in Norwood. You also, some of like the buildings in downtown Norwood, they sit empty. We need to work with the landlords or building owners. They need to get creative to help get businesses in there. Whether you give them 2 or 3 months free rent, or you help with the cost of the fit up, in the long run, it actually nets you a lot of money because then you keep a tenant much longer. I think we have to also be careful when we're doing TIFs, that it does bring redevelopment, but then it also drives the property value up, which then drives the tax base up. If you do shorter lengths of time on the TIFs, then it's good. But if you go longer or the max, then I think you're doing more harm than good.
Okay, sounds good. I think we should move on, talk to a new topic, talk about a
Kevin,
new
can I
topic.
just add like 10 seconds on this? Norwood is the crown jewel of the Commonwealth because we have clean water, great electric company, low taxes commercially. Try to go up to Sharon and see what they charge, and people are going to come to Norwood.
All right.
It's just a magnet for us.
Okay, let's move on. So, kind of a hot button issue, and you guys touched on it a little bit last time with the League of Women's Voters debate. It's the MBTA Communities Act. I guess I'm asking the question more in a broad sense. Not really, you could comment on the specific policy, but I'm curious if you guys believe that as a selectman, is it ever appropriate to contradict or to basically not accept state regulation? David.
Well, I've said in the past and during the campaign that I was 100% against the MBTA housing. I think that was ridiculous. I don't think a state or federal government should come to a town, a local community, and tell them you got to do this, build this here, build that there, paint that house that color. The town of Norwood knows what they want. Okay, the town of Norwood should decide what goes where and how to build it. For the state or any other agency to put down a mandate to a town or any community, I think is outrageous, and I'm 100% against it.
So now, I guess the question was more about, is it okay, is it okay to say no to the state?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Cheryl.
I think we should have said no. I think we had good grounds to stand on. We have 3 train stops in our town. All 3 of them are surrounded by apartments, all of them. We didn't need to give away the cow, the milk, and the rest of the farm with it. And I feel when this was presented to us at town meeting, it was like, oh, we have to do this, we have to do it, we have to have it done by December. And it was like, da, 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 but we didn't have enough information. I think town meeting should have gone, no, take a step back and see what the other towns are doing instead of being the first one out the gate. There is no harm in telling the state no.
Okay, Mike.
I voted against it. I fought with my board. I said, this is not good for Norwood, and it's not good for Norwood. We should have fought it tooth and nail and said to Haley, no, we don't want it. We're at 65% already close to apartments. Now we're gonna get it with another 10 or 15%. We don't have any homeowners anymore. We're gonna have all rentals. The ADUs, everything they throw at us, they give us a grant here, they give us a grant there. We don't want the grants. Keep them. We don't want any of your stuff.
So follow up to that
Yeah.
is, would you guys be willing to accept the repercussions of that, which would be the elimination of state funds for any towns that do not comply? Mike.
I would say yes, and I would say keep your funds, and you know what? Have fun, because we're not gonna do it because, as David says, I'm from a different background, and if the government says to me X, Y, Z, we're not doing it. Because, it's just the fact that you're being elected as a leader. Step up and lead.
Got to make a stand. You got to draw that line in the sand, and you got to live by it. And even if we did say no, what's the state really going to do? Are they really going to come after a community? Maybe. To what degree? But I don't know. I'm totally against it. And a perfect example of the MBTA zoning. Look what's going on down on Lenox Street. That 5-story apartment building that is ridiculous for that community, for that neighborhood. a 5-story apartment complex. The thing is huge. Totally does not look good in that neighborhood. The people don't want it and it shouldn't be there. But that's an example of the MBTA thing. Look what's going on with Lennox Street. It's ridiculous.
We could talk about Lennox Street, but I want to ask Cheryl the original question, which is, if we were to fight the state, would you be willing to accept the consequences of that?
I would. You know why? Because if enough towns stand up to the state, what are they going to do? Because you know what? They're elected officials. We can vote them out as easily as they were voted in. And that is the power of voting and why people should go to the polls and vote and not just sit at home and leave it to others to do. So yes.
Should keep my mouth shut, but I agree with you. All right, we could talk about Lennox Street. Do you guys, Mike and Cheryl, do you guys have a comment on that?
Are we discussing 55 Lennox?
Yes.
Well, I went to all the planning board meetings, and I stood up for the neighborhood. I was against it because the joke is, we'll give you an extra floor if you meet these certain requirements. One of them is the roof. They have to do a white roof no matter what, because we, as town meeting, passed the stretch code. You have to do a white roof. Have fun trying to find a black roof. And if you Google Earth Norwood, you'll see on almost every commercial building, they're white roofs now. One, they're more energy efficient. So given an extra floor, I think that was bull. Personally, you're gonna cut me off, go right ahead. Go.
No, I think Cheryl's 100% right. I didn't have time to go to those meetings. I'm busy with other budget meetings and everything I do with the town. But I think it's ridiculous. You put a shrub up on your deck on the fifth floor, you get an extra fifth floor. You get a white roof, you get an extra floor. With stormwater management, that's another, where's their stormwater management? It's 90% asphalt and building. But that's what they do in the planning board is gonna say no to people and not pass things so quickly. They need to give them and say, we want more shrubs, more trees, more greenery, more airspace. You know, they don't. They just rubber stamp and say, yep, to approve it. So, like Savile Grant, one night they came in, boom, 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 they approved it. 200 apartments on 2 acres. All asphalt and all building. Not good.
David, anything?
I've said what I was going to say.
Okay, so this is a complete change of direction.
Yeah.
This is, so there hasn't been any formal process of this, but I'm curious to see how you guys would feel if this were to happen. The question is changing through the charter our form of government. I mean, we're the town of Norwood, we love town meeting, but do you think that the town would be more efficiently run, similar to Braintree, which calls itself the town of Braintree, but has a city council, my apologies, and without any town meeting? Cheryl?
I like how our town is with town meeting. I think it gives a good representation of all the districts, because we have 9 districts, and we have representatives in all of them. And I think it's very powerful when people can vote. And we get to do it at town meeting. We get to do it at the polls. We get to have a voice. We get to dissect all the finances at town meeting. We get to ask those questions. If we went to a town council or have aldermans or anything like that, we have lost our voice.
Okay, Mike, do you agree?
I gotta tell you, when I was your age, a town meeting member, I had promoted a mayor of Norwood. And I said, because the town meeting wasn't being full, the people weren't going to vote, they were just putting the name of the town meeting member. And as Cheryl says, the more you're around it, and you've been through it as selectmen now, you see the voices from different neighborhoods, things that impact them. It's like Hennessy Field. I want to bring this up tonight. I got a letter from Mark Ryan, and I'm hoping that it was a typo error, that they're going to do it no matter what, and the community has no say in that district. 100% against it, 150% against it. That people in the neighborhood They don't need something shoved down. They don't want it, then we're not gonna do it. For the good of, Norwood Hospital flooded, they had a flood, it's all done, now it's 6 feet above water, and as a commercial person, you know that anything that's 6 feet above water is not gonna flood ever again. So we're hoping that this $100 million roughly stormwater management program, put it in the barrel, save us money and time, because there's too much money and we can't afford it.
Could touch on that, but original question, David. Would you support change in the charter of our form of government?
I would not. I think this community is the people speak. The people run the town. The people's input is important. To go up anything other than that, I would not be supportive of. No. I think where things are running right now is great. Everyone has a say. Everyone has a vote. That's the way it should be.
Okay, so you touched on Hennessy Field. I'm curious if anybody has a comment on that. Okay, we can move on. So, school department spends most of our money, the majority of our money. I guess the question I have between me and the candidates for the Board of Selectmen is, should the Board of Selectmen have more intervention in the school budget? You answered last time, Mike.
I think so. I've talked to Tim Luff in great length about this with the balance and budget. You know, they do the best they can. It's a real tough job to be a teacher up there. I get a lot of calls from teachers. We have a lot of issues sometimes up at our schools, in general, the whole school system. We've got to get it under control. We don't need a school that's having problems like the high school, junior high, or the buses, where people don't want to move to Norwood. That would be a real tarnish on the town of Norwood. We've got a great town with, I say, great services. We've just got to get things under control, maybe a freeze, maybe of some sort. We have to look at revenue enhancement for the sports program, advertisement on the back of the field, on the tank up that they're putting on, asking corporations like they do in a hospital, support a room. I told Tim, I says, go to the people, the big corporations, started with Factor Mutual, Moderna, all these big dealers and corporations on Route 1, and say, how'd you like to sponsor the Science Center or the Health Center? We do this with the kids with the SMART program, where the smart kids get to go to Moderna and these different Mass General and these different hospitals, the STEM program, and it's really a great program. You know, I think one of the big programs was getting rid of the metal, wood, and carpentry shop. That's where I learned my trade, carpentry, and other people became mechanics. I think we should have kept it there. That was a big, big, bad mistake from us. The Peabody School, they donated the money for the Peabody wing. They tore it down, and now it's not there anymore.
David, same question to you.
So the question is, should we, the selectmen,
Should the selectmen have more of a role in the school budget?
and how they spend money?
Yeah.
I think statutory, I think we can't. I think statutory, it's up to the school committee. School committee has jurisdiction over the school department in spending.
That's right. I guess I would say, do you think it would be better for the town if that wasn't the case? I guess is the question.
No, I think they have a school board. I would trust the school board would know, you know. Same thing with the selectmen. Selectmen in charge of general government side of spending, it'd be the same thing.
All right, Cheryl, to you.
State governs it. I think, though, right now, what the school committee is doing, they did send a letter to the state, because this is something I didn't know even before they sent the letter, that Chapter 70 money, I was always under the impression that that money went right back to the schools, and it doesn't. It goes to government side, and then they give some of it back to the schools. So I think it should all go back to the schools. And I'm really active, like on Norwood now and some of the other town sites. You know what's brought up a lot? People go, I'm thinking about moving to Norwood. How is their special needs program? Because I have an autistic kid, or I have a special needs kid for this, that, or whatever. So it's almost like we're drawing it in, and we do have a very high population of special needs. So I think for the selectmen to start trying to control what the school's doing, I think it'd be very difficult, because they have enough on their side, and I think that is FinCom's responsibility.
Okay. So is there any other comments on that issue?
The other thing I would say is that, Cheryl mentioned about Chapter 70 money. I wasn't aware that some of that money does not go to the schools.
Percentage.
Percentages.
Okay, so I'd like to move back. We have on paper about 20 minutes, but if we finish up early, we can finish up early. Depends on the convo. So I'd like to move kind of back to the financial side of things. I guess the first question is something that's been answered frequently by the FinCom, but I don't believe as much from the members of the board. It's the use of free cash. It's something we've been talking about. We know that the new commercial tax base and has given us a lot of free cash, and we have the liberty to spend it. I guess the question is, how liberally should we spend that money going forward? Trying to remember who I went with last time. I think your turn, David.
Free cash is, it's like the reserve fund for the town. It goes into the reserve fund. Free cash, we started this year off with $14 million we had available in free cash. Currently, right now, as of today, we have around $7 million. The Finance Commission spent $7.6 million of free cash to close the budget gap for next year. We had over $7 million budget deficit. For them to balance the budget, they took $7.6 million of the free cash to balance the town budget. So now we're down to $7 million. We still got other expenses coming, snow and ice the number hasn't come in yet. We got other expenses coming. So if we're down to $7 million now, pretty soon, that money's gonna go very quickly. And if it was up to me, I would put a freeze on that $7 million and save it, because we're gonna need it down the road.
Okay. Cheryl.
Free cash can be a good thing, but it could be the devil in disguise. I think we have to be careful how we do spend it, that instead of taking money from free cash and putting it over in this pot that's never going to get touched, or over in this pot that's not being touched, in that, I think we should leave it in the free cash so we can get things balanced out, so we can pay if we have an emergency, we have the money there instead of it sitting in all these little different pots. I think it's a very, very slippery slope. I think FinCom has a pretty good handle on our finances, and there's sometimes we don't listen to them. And I think we should pay more attention to what they're saying, because they're actually working with those numbers in the budget every single week.
Okay. Mike.
I think Cheryl's 100% right. I think the 7.6 million we're gonna use this year, it's gonna run out. The next year or two or three doesn't look good for the town. There are gonna be some hard cuts, hard spending cuts. The revenue's just not there unless a couple big corporations come. Moderna, Factory Mutual, and the sale of
Was
Forbes
it
Estate.
Analog? No?
No, not Analog. They gave us a lot, Forbes Estate, that gave us a big windfall. Tony's doing the best he can, streamline whatever he can, but we've got to pull in the reins. We've got to cut some spending down. We're in not big trouble, we're in trouble. Like every town around us, we're inundated with 3A, all this extra bonuses they give these developers. It's just putting a burden on the school system, the police and fire system, the town system. I mean, you gotta start thinking like a business person. What are we doing? We're putting over there, we're paying over here.
So, yes, David.
What I would say to that is, part of the discussion is some of the debate, when they talk about the public safety override. Some people said we should go to the override. Some people are saying, well, why don't we spend the money out of free cash to pay for the override? Well, the override is, 1.5 million, maybe a little less. 7 million left, another $1.5 million we're gonna take out of that. It's dwindling down. We don't want it dwindling down. So that's why I think the override would be a lot better. It's $98 a year per household. And plus, it'll be permanent. If we do just the free cash for the override, for the staffing, for the fire department, police department, we only for 1 year. What happens at year two? What happens if that money's no longer there?
Right.
We're gonna hire all these people and we're gonna lay them off?
Okay, any comment on that?
I do, and I just want, well, I think both of them might realize or not, but we have a great bond rating. Norwood is a well-heeled town, and we have a double rated bond with Moody's, and it gives us the opportunity to borrow at a real good rate on the street. And so if we need fire trucks, ambulance, one of the great things Tony did this year was promoting bundling them together and throwing it on the street. Some people didn't agree with it, but I think it was a good move because the money you're saving in the bank might be 3%, and it's only costing you a net of 3.4, but you still have all that money that Wall Street looks at for the AA rating. So it makes it look like we have, and I agree with Cheryl also about not putting money in all these different accounts. You know, Bill and I had fought with that on with the board about moving it to those different groups. And we know you got to keep it in one big nest egg. It's like a retirement process. Keep it in one nest egg. You know where it is. You know what's in there, and not put it over there. And you don't use it for 7 years. If we need it, if the school needs it for something, we'll fund it. We'll find the money. That's it.
Cheryl, anything?
Can I just follow up? I don't know if you're a renter or a homeowner, but I'm a homeowner, and when I bought my house, my taxes for the year was only $3,000. Mine's doubled.
I'm sure, yeah.
So to say it's like only $98 or whatever, it's never just that amount, because we've been told in the past, oh, it's only a couple hundred, and I seen my tax bill jump 600. So I think we have to be very aware of homeowners and the seniors that are in this town that are on fixed incomes. Yes, they own their home, odds are probably paid off, but it's still a fixed income.
Before we move on, I want to make sure, is there any other comments on that? Yep.
I know when I first got on there, I pushed for a senior tax break.
Okay.
So many years, 40 years.
That's my next question.
Oh, okay.
No,
I'm
no, sorry, go ahead.
you.
No, I'm just
So
finding
I
it
think, as
interesting.
Cheryl said, we've got to give these seniors, they built Norwood. They built Norwood to what it is today. And they've been paying taxes for 50, 60, 70 years. We can afford to give them a break.
Okay, so that
Right.
leads perfectly
Yep.
into my next question, which is how do we give seniors a break? Is there any specific things? Mike mentioned an exemption. Would you guys agree with that exemption? And is there anything else? David?
I know currently right now we have the senior tax incentive program. I would definitely, I mean, I support that 100%, but we should be able to try to find ways that maybe we can expand that, increase that, whether it's coming from the state or whatever, and somehow we can try to work on something like that. But we definitely need to do something for our seniors. Seniors are living in their house now. They've been in their house all their lives. They're coming to be a point now where they're not going to be able to afford to stay there. So any way we can come up with any ideas to strengthen that tax incentive for our seniors, I would be 100% in favor of.
Okay, Cheryl?
I know there's a lot of states that give their seniors a break. My sister lives in Colorado. If you've owned your home 10 years or more, you're still paying taxes, but it drops by like 75 or 50%. But you're still paying in to the system, just not as high of a rate. We could always look at something like that. I know we have the senior work-off program. Problem is some of the seniors can't do it. There's a lot that can't do it. They have either an illness or they're physically incapable of doing it. Yes, you can have somebody else work it off for you, but you have to find somebody that's willing to work that off for you. And I just feel we can do so much more for our seniors than what we're doing.
So what are those things that we can do for our seniors outside of what you just mentioned? Oh, okay.
To be honest, wait,
Well, that's
hold
what
on.
I mean.
No,
To
Yeah,
be
no, I don't wanna
honest,
be-
I don't
yeah.
know, because I'm not on the select board. So when I'm sitting on all my other boards that I'm on, I'm doing a lot of research and homework and everything so I can prepare for those boards. If I get voted on as a selectman, oh yeah, I'll go to the wall looking for different ways to help them and do the research and step up to the plate for them. I'm fortunate, even though I'm a senior, I have my health. I work. I'll probably work till I'm in the grave, providing my health allows it, but there's others that can't, and I feel bad for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't want to make it seem like it was a gotcha. I'm just looking,
Yeah.
some people, they say we need to do more for our seniors and our veterans. But I think perhaps it's time to ask what those things are. And, you know, Mike, go ahead.
I guess my question is, or my answer to that is, you've been paying taxes in Norwood for 40, 50 years. We're gonna give you 40% tax break. So instead of that $3,000 or $6,000, they're gonna get $2,400 off there, right? We can afford it. You know, there aren't that many of them, but there's enough of them to make it a real impact to say, hey, listen, you go by the 20-year, 30-year, 40-year, make it fun for them and make it worthwhile that they're gonna get a nice tax break. They've supported the town for 30, 40 years. We can support them for 10 or 15 or 20 more years in their lifetime in that home.
Okay. Anything else on that topic?
Nope.
No. With that, I want to close with one last question, 6:05, a little bit early. The question is, what differentiates you from the rest of the candidates? I don't want it to come a little bit, I don't want it to be hostile, of course, but I'm curious, it seems like you guys agree on a lot. I'm curious what you guys think makes you special and a qualified candidate for the board. Let's start with you, Cheryl.
I believe what makes me qualified for the board is that I've already proven with my track record that I'm not afraid of hard work, that I will step up to the plate. I've been known to sit on a lot of boards. I'm a town meeting member. When being in the Navy for 9 years, I have the structure. I had a top secret clearance, so I know when you go into executive session, that information stays there. I am a people person. I love to get out, meet people. I'll talk to them. I am willing to help out anybody. So I think I would do the town proud, to be quite honest.
Mike.
I want to say that it's been a privilege to be a selectman for 3 years. I've learned a lot, I've grown a lot, I've kind of fallen into the seat. My mentality, my work ethic is different from a lot of other people in this town. I know a lot of people. I visit people, I've coached a lot of kids. I've had the opportunity to coach with Tank and Leader in football. A lot of them are in the force now, police force. I'm not afraid to fight anybody or anybody say, you can't do that, and I'll prove them wrong. We can do it better. So I'm not afraid to speak up for the people of Norwood. I love Norwood. I don't get any benefit of it. I don't get a paycheck. I just love Norwood. I want to see Norwood back to where Norwood used to be. I think the direction we've gone to in the last 3 or 4, 5, 6 years is the wrong direction, and we're going to turn it around.
David.
I think somebody like myself who's new to the political scene, been in Norwood for 11 years, I think I bring a lot of fresh ideas, collaboration. Collaboration I think is big. And most of all is the common sense. I work very hard. I love this town. And I just want to bring what I want to do to the town and help the people of Norwood. I'm a people person. I get along with everybody really. And whatever we can do to solve the issues in Norwood, that's where I want to be.
Okay. With that, thank you all for coming here. Thank you for speaking. I'm going to close out. Thank you all who are watching at home, who are watching on demand, those who are in person. Just a reminder, Election Day is on April 6th, on Monday. So look out for that. And thank you to Norwood Community Media, Brian Bedreau, Ron Marshalsea, Sarah Sullivan, Kiki Thaxter. Great crew. They run a state-of-the-art operation over here. Really the best of the best, and I want to thank them. To Vinnie Connors, who's doing the camera work. Thank you, Vinnie. Big shout out for Vinnie. And that's about it. Contacts for me, if you have any questions or comments, suggestions even. My cell is 781-686-3334, and my email is kevinbroderick777@gmail.com. Thank you all who are watching, and I'll catch you next time.